Glad you all are with us tonight, live in person. Welcome to all of you, and welcome to all. Welcome to all of you online, watching, joining us on YouTube or Facebook or on the website. We're glad y'all are with us. Free is a place for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction and create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. Now, there's an announcement I need to make. It feels like I just did this 2 weeks ago. Oh, that's right, because I did do it 2 weeks ago. So we're gathering in the midst of some heavy times here, aren't we? If you're tuning in, if you're local in the Denver area, if you're from Colorado, you know that COVID numbers are going up. Everything's moving in the wrong direction. So I need to let y'all know. Some of you might have seen David McElwain's video message that he did last week. He's the chair of our board of directors. As a board, we do have guidelines that we follow from Arapahoe County or Tri-County. And also as an ordained United Methodist pastor, I have guidelines to follow from our conference, our bishop and our cabinet. So all that to say, this week, tonight is our last in-person gathering for some time, for a few weeks anyways. We will keep you in the loop. I hate it as much as y'all do. I mean, there's something beautiful about gathering in person, but this is what we're doing. It's not an emotional decision. It wasn't a rash decision, but things do change quickly in this COVID world. So we're following the guidelines the best we can. And Saturday night gatherings won't happen in person. We will still be online every Saturday night, 7 p.m. But in person, we got to put on hold for just a bit. We are going to make it through this, though. I mean, I believe it. We're going to make it through. I know it's heavy times. Man, this week, more than any other, I think I can say this pretty confidently, more than any other week in my ministry and my time of being a pastor, heaviness has been with people. I have received phone calls, texts, emails from people who are struggling in really significant ways. So I hope you all don't hear that this community is shutting down. In fact, it needs to do the exact opposite. We have to keep connecting, checking in on one another. We have to keep spreading love and kindness and doing our thing like we do, because for many of us, it is a life and death situation. As you know, addiction and recovery, it is nothing to mess around with. So we have to keep connecting. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Let me know. Shoot me a message. Drop it in the comments. We will have someone get back to you. But I want to let y'all know what's happening next week. I know we're not gathering in person, but we are starting our new 4-week series. For those of you that aren't familiar with the term Advent, we're going to get into what Advent means, Advent and Christmas. I realize if you're like not into, if you don't have a religious background, that word Advent, you're like, what the heck does that mean? We'll get into it. But we are doing a new series next week. It's going to bring us all the way into Christmas, and it is called Sober and Serene for the Holidays. Here's a little 2-minute video. The holiday season isn't always full of happiness and joy, is it? You know, I'm thinking back to my early days in sobriety. The holidays were a dicey time. I mean, how was I going to make it through Thanksgiving without getting drunk? Christmas time without a drink? And what in the heck am I going to do on New Year's Eve? I mean, seriously? Celebrate without booze? If you're like me, the holidays are meant for drinking the way I want to drink, which, by the way, never ended well. And some of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And for you loved ones watching them battle in their addiction, it's an old story, isn't it? And like them, you're experiencing the same feelings. The chaos with family or not being able to gather with family, the pressure to get it right, the anxiety, the fear, the discomfort, the battle. And you ask yourself, does anyone know what I'm going through, what I'm facing? How am I not going to get loaded today? How will I not be miserable today? How will I not pick up a drink? Or you're the one who can't help but wonder, is he going to ruin Thanksgiving again? Is she even gonna show up this year for Christmas? How bad is it going to be? How much is my heart going to break? Sobriety during the holidays? Serenity during this time? I mean, this is a hard season, isn't it? Oh, and let's go ahead and throw in a massive pandemic and some political uncertainty into the world while we're at it. How are you going to stay sober and serene for the holidays? In my experience, we have to together dig deep to find the hope, the peace, the joy, the love. God's hope, God's peace, God's joy, God's love. These four themes aren't just pretty holiday phrases that we sing about. They are central to our serenity and sobriety. Wonder how you're going to stay sober and serene for the holidays? Join us for this 4-week series.
Hey everybody, it's so great to be here with everybody. We've got a full house here, socially distanced, of course. We have a really big announcement for you guys. This is going to be so much fun. We are adopting a family for Christmas.
Woo!
Woo! Not me, but we as a community. We don't have all the details yet. We know there's 5 kiddos. We want to, the baptismal wagon that I was baptized in just a few weeks back, we want to fill that. We want to fill that up. So keep an eye on the Facebook page, keep an eye on social. It might be on the app too, with all the details of what's needed. There'll be a drop-off, there'll be a gift wrapping. We're going to do it all so it's safe, and we'll be doing it outside. But we wanted to give you guys the news on that. It's so much fun that we get to help these people this year.
Thank you, Saman.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So yes, we'll be filling up the wagon. Details will roll out this week, so we will get those details to you all soon. I think I'm not in the camera. There we go. All right. How we start around here is we start with celebrating. We love to celebrate together. We believe that God joins with us in our celebrations. We believe something powerful and profound happens when we celebrate together, when we lift these things up. And y'all, these can be simple things. They don't have to be big things. They can be simple things like your sobriety anniversary. That's actually a big thing, isn't it? They can be birthdays. They can be new babies being born, jobs being had. Y'all know it's easy to get lost in the weeds of heartache. So we don't start there. We don't ignore it. We don't avoid it. We just don't start there. We end with that. But we begin with celebration. So you're going to have 2 minutes to celebrate. Get vulnerable. Get real. Get honest. Let the community in on your celebrations because we want to celebrate with you. And drop them in the comments if you're live. We're going to give you an opportunity, if you're in person tonight, we're going to give you an opportunity to celebrate when we come back together because we have a handheld mic that we will, that I'll hold and you can come up if that's not intimidating. All right, take 2 minutes, celebrate, and then we'll come back together. All right, welcome back, everybody. Drew, do we want to start with online ones or start with someone live?
Let's start with someone live. Let's try it out.
Well, I don't know. Do we have anyone live? It's kind of intimidating to come up and.
I'll do it.
Peyton does.
Peyton does. Peyton, come on up, brother.
Someone's got to bring
Woohoo! Do you want to shimmy to that side with your mask?
I would like to.
Okay.
Yeah. Peyton.
I want to go ahead and.
Oh, we don't have you in the
Oh,
camera.
I'll scoot it over. There you go.
Sorry. man.
It's all good. I want to go ahead and celebrate all of our recovery birthdays at the Akron House.
Yes.
We have Mr. Nick L with 18 plus. We have Derek with, God willing, 9 on Monday.
D-Dog. All right.
I'm right behind him with 6 plus.
Nice.
Matt A with 4.
Woo,
We have Nick Petty with 2.
How did you remember all that?
That's
I-
good.
Had to have a little consensus
Okay.
there
Did
just
you
now.
just
A
make
little
those numbers up?
consensus.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome, man. Congratulations to Akron
Thank you,
House.
Peyton.
Thank you, Peyton. Thank you.
Oh, so good.
Way to go, Akron House. We have many of them with us tonight. Good to have you all.
All right, you guys ready for one?
Yeah, let's throw it up there. Tammy, you want to start us?
Yeah.
All right.
I can see the screen tonight. We got a new screen, guys, so I'm not squinting tonight. That's a big celebration. Yay! Hey, Kay, this past week I celebrated 7 years of sobriety and 25 years of being breast cancer free.
All right, Kay.
Can I get a whoop?
Elizabeth. Yeah, by the way, if someone has one in person, just come on up. Elizabeth, she says, I'm on week 3 of no pain after my spine surgery. It's nice to feel good every morning again and to want to get out of bed.
Good
Way
stuff.
to go, Elizabeth. We're going to celebrate that with you.
Big celebration.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Do we have anyone in person? Oh, Saman has one.
Yes.
Oh,
Let
should
me
I
hold
shimmy
this for
this
you.
way?
Hey everyone, so a lot of you know the relationship that I've had with my oldest daughter since I got sober. It's been super rocky. There were times that we weren't even talking and I had no idea what she was doing. Well, I was able to do something amazing this past weekend. We both jumped out of a plane together. It was
Yes.
amazing.
Awesome.
That's so big. So good.
Thank you for sharing that, Saman. We were following you on social.
Yes.
That was fun.
Very.
Yeah, let's do another one.
Amanda, I'm celebrating that I made it through the day, and we're happy to have you in the house, Amanda.
Yeah, that could be a big one.
Yeah.
We'll celebrate that with Amanda. All right, Jennifer says, all the way from North Carolina,
Hey, Jen.
thankful for Christy's brother, Brian, home from the hospital with a brand new shiny hip. Thanks for all the prayers. This community was keeping you in prayer
Yes.
all week. So thank you for sharing that with us, Jennifer. We're celebrating that with you. Glad you're home, Brian.
Got a lot of head nods, Jennifer and Christy. Lots of people praying for you.
Anyone else in the house that wants to share? Okay, let's do another.
Oh, you got one back here?
Oh, we got one on the back. You
Yes.
got to come up, though, brother. Do we
I'm
have one
gonna scooch
online?
out.
Because he's got a long walk. Sue says, I'm dog sitting the world's most curmudgeony dog.
Wow, good word.
I think we can stop right there and just celebrate that word. And that he let me give him a kiss on the head tonight. Gotta love these critters who don't really communicate well. All right, we're going to celebrate that with you, Sue. All right, come on up, brother. And say your name.
My name is.
I'll hold it for you.
Oh, sorry. My name is Jason Burke.
Oh, scooch in, right?
Oh, sorry, dude. I keep trying to edge you out of the camera.
My name is Jason Burke. Jason B.
Yeah.
Jason.
What up, Jay?
So I just want to celebrate. After 2.5 years, I went out and relapsed over this tough year, and went out for 4 months. And by the grace of God, I'm celebrating 4 days again.
4 days sober. Awesome, brother.
Good to have you here.
That's big stuff.
Big, big.
The simple stuff is the big stuff. Thank you for sharing that with
yes.
this community. Whew.
Good stuff.
All right, do we have a couple more, Drew? All right, let's do a couple more.
From Mike Anderson, celebrating everything I have to be grateful for. Grateful to have you here, Mike.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you
Glad
for all
you're
your
part of this
support.
community.
Yeah.
Suzanne says, Suzanne and Kenny all the way down south in Arizona celebrating 6 months clean this past Monday. God is
Wow.
great. I love my family for being there with me. Yes. Congratulations, Suzanne. That's
So good,
awesome.
Suzanne.
So awesome.
Ooh.
One more. You take it.
I'm going to let you take it because I have one to celebrate.
Okay. Theta says, ready to work, Aurora. Renee is blessed with a job and reunification of family. Way to go. And hey, welcome, Ready to Work House.
Yes.
We're so glad y'all are with us tonight, tuning in online. Welcome.
Good stuff.
Celebrating Renee. All right, Tammy's going to take us home.
Yeah. I do understand that our dear friend Shannon Martinez is celebrating 10 years today.
10 years
Today,
sober.
10
Way to go,
years.
Shannon.
That's a major whoop. Love you, Shannon. Proud of you. That's huge.
All right. Do y'all see why it's so good to celebrate during this time, to laugh and clap for one another and to celebrate one another? Because we need that stuff, especially now. So thank you for participating in this time. It's always fun to do together. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you all in the house for participating. It's good to have you all here. All right, y'all, we are in our the last week of our series of Things Jesus Never Said. Before we jump into our next series next week, we're going to close things down with week 5. Here's a little video to kick us off. All right, welcome back, everybody. So, Things Jesus Never Said, Part 5. You missed God's will for your life. Yeah, Jesus never said that. Jesus never said that. 90% of God's will for your life is the same 90% of God's will for my life. And guess what? The other 10%, I don't think God cares about. Oh, what do you mean, Pastor? I thought God cared about everything. Here's what I mean. When I was in college, my last year in college, right before I graduated and went to seminary, I remember very vividly walking into my New Testament professor's office, Dr. Tom Phillips, and he's still a good friend of mine to this day. He still speaks wisdom into my life to this day, but I walked into his office and I said, Tom, man, I'm feeling a bit lost. Because, see, I don't know God's will for my life, and I've been praying about it, but I don't know if God wants me to be a pastor or a professor. And I'll never forget what he said to me, and I'll remember it because it offended me. He said, man, I don't think God cares. What do you mean? God doesn't care about my life? He said, you know, there's good parts to being a professor, there's good parts to being a pastor. You'd probably enjoy both of them. You could do either one of them, but I don't think God cares. And he said, think about it this way. When I get done here, and at this time he had 2 little girls, 2 little daughters. He said, when I get done here, I'm going to go hang out with my daughters. And whether or not they want to go swimming in the pool or play at the playground or do something else, I don't really care. It's not significant to me. What matters is I get to be with them and hang out with them. And see, looking back on it, I think what he was saying was, stop putting God in a box. The whole world is a playground. Don't put God in the box. See, culturally, what's happened? Culturally, what has happened is we have become obsessed with what you do rather than who you are. And what you do is always far less interesting than who you are. And think about what we do culturally. What do we ask when we meet people and we get uncomfortable and we don't know what to do with that discomfort? So what do you do? Yeah, what do you do for work? We're asking a vocation, a career. What do you do to make a living? And it's boring. Most of the time it's boring. And I don't think God cares a whole lot about what you do, but I think God does care a great deal about who you are. And think about it. When you read through the scriptures, when you read through the gospels, Jesus is never asking people or telling people how to find their exact path in life. As if there's one exact path in life and you've got to spend all your time and all your energy into finding that one exact path. It's the thinking that God is up here somewhere and God has some sort of master plan for your life and you've got to reach at it enough. And what happens is y'all make too many mistakes and you wonder too much. You wander off the path too much and you miss God's will for your life. But see, Jesus never talks this way. In fact, you might remember a story that we looked at a few weeks ago about a lawyer that came to Jesus, an expert in the law. And he says, Rabbi, tell me, what must I do to get the best, the fullest kind of life, the most eternal kind of life? What must I do? And it's interesting because Jesus frames his response as simple. Love God, love others. Remember what he said? Let's throw it on the screen. You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. You must love your neighbor as you love yourself. You know, the writer of Proverbs. Proverbs is this Old Testament book. It's a list of, not a list, but it's a book that contains some wisdom sayings. It's called wisdom literature. And the writer of Proverbs, he frames it as, look, in everything you do, no matter what, stay close to God and rely on something greater than yourself, and then your paths, plural, will be okay. Here's how he says it. Proverbs chapter 3. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't rely on your own intelligence. Know him in all your paths, and he will make your ways, plural, straight. But y'all, I do get it. Because the truth is, you can be doing all the right things. You can be leaning into God. You can be leaning into the practice of loving God and loving others. And yet some days, some seasons, you just feel so lost. Is it true? I mean, how many of you all have felt a sense of lostness during these months of this pandemic? Yeah. I can't tell you all how many calls I've had this week, meetings this week. I've experienced it. I've had to work out my resentment towards God about it because I like to make it all about me. This pandemic, it's all about me. You might remember the pandemic, things started shutting down in March. Last March, remember this? We celebrated our 1-year anniversary right before that. I was appointed here as the pastor full-time February 1st. And then March hits and it's like, all right, let's close the doors. And I was mad because I thought, man, we had so much energy. There was such a good and powerful thing happening here. I mean, do y'all remember the energy for those of you that were here? Wall-to-wall people, big crowds of people. We weren't wearing masks. We were hugging each other. We were embracing each other. And then it brings up all of Ryan's fears. Well, we shut our doors and people can't come in on Saturday nights. But what if people start to lose interest in free? What if people stop participating? What if this community is too new to hold together? What if people stop giving and it's not financially sustainable? Oh, and then some months go by and we start opening back up slowly. Meetings are happening. Saturday nights, we can get 25 people in here. And then what happens this week? Red level restrictions. And Ryan's fears creep back up. Hey, what if people check out of this community? What if they stop finding it interesting? What if they stop loving on each other? What if they stop connecting? What if it's not sustainable? Yeah, you want to talk about a feeling of lostness on some days? What in the heck do we do? You know, I was talking to Danny Colella this week. Can't say his name without saying his last name. He's our digital content director. And I work closely with Danny. And, you know, he was telling me just this week, he said, man, it just feels so deflating. I have a hard time working recently because I'll sit down and my creative energy's gone. I don't have answers. I don't know how to get started. And it just all feels so heavy. Yeah. And see, I can't tell y'all, the number one question that has been asked to me in my times of ministry, so over the past 15 or so years, the number one question, and it is asked in different ways, using different words, but it always boils down to this question, and that is, what do you do when you feel lost? And what I've noticed is when we ask that question, there's a piece of us that just wants answers, right? God, just tell me when it's all going to end. Just give me the answers of how to get through. There's a piece of us that we say we want solutions. But what I've noticed is we don't really need solutions here. What we need, what we crave is solidarity. Because if I know someone else is going through it, if I know y'all are going through it, then that lets me know I'm not alone. And how many of us need to know that we're not alone? And there is something about the feeling of being lost that is a universal human experience. So if you are asking big questions of your life, especially now, just know that it's normal and natural. If you're asking yourself questions like, where's my life going? Did I make too many mistakes? Did I blow it? Did I miss my chance? Did I make too many big mistakes to where I can't move forward? It is all normal and natural. And y'all listen, I know it's uncomfortable. It's the most uncomfortable. The feeling of being lost can be the most uncomfortable feeling, but the power comes in embracing it. When we embrace it, it has a freeing sense that it brings. When we embrace it. So if you're feeling a bit lost, it's okay. It's not a problem. In fact, the real problem is those people who never dive into their lostness, those people who never admit that feeling of lostness. You know these people, right? You've sat in meetings with them. You've been in gatherings with them. They're the ones that always have the answers. They're the ones who always know the path, and they're going to be quick to tell you how to get on the path. Yeah, be leery of those people. That's a problem. If you can't go into your lostness, it's a problem. And let's talk for just a moment about the shifting of your roles during lostness. Because maybe you're a pastor, and it has been your perceived job not to speak about lostness, but to speak about foundness. You don't speak about being lost. That's like a buzzkill. You tell people how to be found. Or maybe you're the funny guy. You're the life of the party. When you show up, you know how to get things going. You know how to get people to laughing and having a good time. You know how to get the party started. Or maybe you are the mom of all moms. Oh, you're so good at being a mom, other moms come to you for mothering advice. Or maybe you're the good one. Yeah, the trusted one. Yeah, and that's been your label since you were a little kid. Your family looked at you that way. Your extended family, your neighborhood, your community, they looked at you as the good one, the trusted one. Or maybe you are the strong one. Things around you can be falling apart, but you're the one who holds it all together, and you have resources. And people come to you for those resources. Or maybe, let's bring it a bit closer to home. Maybe you're the sponsor of all sponsors. Yeah, you sponsor a lot of people. You walk into that 12-step meeting and people know you because you have a name for yourself. And listen, y'all, none of this stuff is bad. None of it's bad, but it can all be a trap. Because what happens when something comes along and shifts your role and now you feel lost? Like, what about those days or those seasons where you don't have the answers, where you don't have much to give, where you feel depleted and you are simply experiencing lostness? And you know what we've done culturally? Here's what we've done culturally. We just throw at you, here's 4 quick tips to get you back, or here's 3 simple solutions, or my favorite one, all you have to do is. And y'all listen, if a book or a program or an idea starts with all you have to do is, please reject that. because you know it's a bunch of BS. All you have to do is, that's a trap too, because you know it takes some hard, deep, long, sometimes interior work. And all of those things treat our lostness as if it's a bad thing, a bad state. And look, the truth is, sometimes you feel lost because you're actually being found. How many of you in early recovery experience that sense of being totally lost? Yeah, for those of you there right now in the early stages of recovery, how many of you just feel lost? Because the truth is, you used to know what it was like to go to that gathering. You used to know how to handle those relationships. You used to know what to do with your discomfort and shame. Just give me another drink, just pop another pill, just shoot up another arm. But now, in recovery, you are learning how to show up and how to be fully present in your discomfort. You are learning how to show up and to clean up the mess that you made. You are learning what it's like to live in God's will rather than your own will. You see, sometimes you're feeling lost because you're actually being found. And it is important to remember, y'all, in your lostness, you will experience some funerals. Some things within you will die. It's okay. It's okay. Relationships around you might fade. It's okay. You might feel like there's a piece of you that is just completely dying, like you are losing your life. And remember, it was Jesus, Rabbi Jesus, who said, those who lose their life, they're the ones who find their life. Lose your life in order to find your life. How do you live? How do you truly live? First, you must die. You see your lostness. It may not be a bad thing. Stop running from it. Embrace it. And surround yourself with people who can hold you up in your lostness. Not people who are going to surround you and just try to give you answers, but people who are going to hold you up in your lostness, because oftentimes new life comes with the sense of being lost. You know what I mean? Let me close with this story. Exodus chapter 17. And we've looked at this story before, but I want to, you don't have to throw it on screen yet, Drew. Give me just a minute, but we've looked at this story before. I want to remind you of this story because it's so important for what we're talking about tonight. Remember, it goes Genesis and Exodus. Exodus is the second book of the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible. And in Exodus, we have the great leader Moses. Much of the book is about Moses. And Moses is called by God to set the people free in Egypt, the Hebrew people. God says, I want you to go to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and tell him to let my people go. After some reluctance, Moses goes to him. Remember? He says, yo, Pharaoh, you got to let the people go. Pharaoh's reluctant, but he finally lets the people go, and they're traveling through the wilderness. Moses is leading them, and it's not going well. The people are hungry. They're thirsty. Some of their people are dying. Their livestock are dying. And Moses is like, yo, God, what's up? And every time they start to set up a camp, they get attacked by a new tribe. And on this day, the Amalekites attack. Moses is getting older. His energy is depleted. But he has a sidekick, a younger warrior named Joshua. And he says to Joshua, look, man, we're going into battle. So I need you to gather up some men, and we're going to do this thing. And he said, Joshua, when you're in battle, I'm going to go up to the top of that hill, and I am going to be fighting with you. My arms are going to be held up for you. I'm going to hold this staff in my hands for you, and this staff just produced water for the thirsty just moments before. The battle takes place. Moses goes up to the top of the hill, and he starts holding his arms up. And when his arms are up, they're winning. But when he loses his strength, when he loses his energy and his arms start to fall, they're losing. Two other guys notice what's happening. They look up at the hill, Aaron and Hur. And they run up the hill and they stand at Moses' side. And here's what they say. Here's how the story ends. When Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held his hands up, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hands remained steady till sunset. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write this on a scroll as something to be remembered, and make sure that Joshua hears it." In other words, Moses, don't forget what's happened here. Don't forget about the people that have surrounded you and held you up when you have nothing left to give. And Moses, get a stone. Pick up a stone, my boy, and remember that I am with you in this moment. Remember where I am and how I work in your midst. Pass this story down to the generations. Don't let Joshua forget this story, what happened here in this moment. My free brothers and sisters, do you believe, even in the midst of this pandemic, even in the midst of all the hard things you have gone through, do you believe God is putting things and people in your place, even in the midst of your lostness? Who are the ones? Who are the ones who are holding you up? Who are coming around you on each side and are holding your arms up because you have nothing left to give? Who are those people? What communities are they? So I want to invite you at home, or you in your free circle, maybe you're in the living room, the kitchen, shoot, maybe you're in the bathroom. Y'all at home, wherever you are, you all live here, I want you to take 2 minutes and reflect on those two questions. Do you believe God is putting things and people in your place, even in the midst of your lostness? And who are the ones holding you up? And if you want, put them in the comments. Call them out. Tag them. Let them know they've held you up. Let them know they're at your side now, holding your arms up. Let this community in. Take 2 minutes and reflect, and then we'll come back. All right, welcome back, everybody. It's like a party started in here while y'all were gone. You know what one of my favorite things about Saturday night is? When I leave here. That sounds bad. When I get away from all of you, that's my favorite. No. When I leave here and I go home and I read through some of your comments. So if you all commented on this, I can't wait to see what y'all are saying and be part of that. All right, I want to introduce you to our guest storyteller for the evening. Her name is Anne Marie, and she's in the house tonight. I know this community. Yeah, let's clap for her. This is the time where you want to hit the love button to show her some love. Anne Marie is, well, I can't wait for y'all to just hear some of her recovery story. I put this in the, on social media and in the email this morning that Anne Marie knows something about lostness. She's going to talk to us a bit about lostness and how lostness doesn't just stop when you get clean and sober. You can still experience lostness. We got to stop treating it like a bad thing. And there's different forms of lostness. Anne Marie knows something about lostness. She lost a career to this addiction stuff. She was a commercial airline pilot. Now she's finding new identity, new ways of being in the world, new modes of being, and she's going to come share with us about all of that. So let's welcome Anne Marie to the house. All right. I think no, we're still this camera. Okay. It's almost a joke around here. Welcome, Anne Marie. I'm glad you're here.
Hi.
So let's start with, so I didn't say this to y'all. Anne Marie's been sober 14 months?
Yeah.
14 months of sobriety. So I would love for people to hear, I would love to hear, what did that sense of lostness look like in addiction, an active addiction, and what's it look like now?
I know I've been thinking about this all day. So I don't know if I want to go back to the beginning kind of the first time I ever felt lost. Growing up here in Colorado, I went to Columbine High School. And so that's the kind of where it all started for me. Was like, that's how I dealt with life. Here I am. I was a good student. I was doing all the things I was supposed to. And in the span of just a couple months, you know, the school shooting happened.
Yeah, tell people, if you're out of state or wherever, just remind people what year Columbine was and what happened, not all the details, but
right. It's been level. 21 years. It was 1999. I was a sophomore in high school.
We're getting old.
I know. And so, you know, the first school shooting happened right here in Littleton, and you know, you wake up, you go to school, and then that happens.
Yeah, which fundamentally changed our world, or changed the U.S. at least.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of y'all remember exactly where you were when that happened?
Yeah. And so that was something that you don't expect to happen. And meanwhile, I'm going through, my parents are getting divorced, and I was in a serious car accident 2 months before that. And, you know, I walked away from that car accident and somebody else didn't. And I'm like, why am I here? Yeah. There's just a lot of loss that year, a lot of lost people. And so then I discovered drinking to cure that. And that's, you know, led me down that path. And I went away to college. I knew I was going to go to college, and it was like, figure out what you want to do. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. But I like traveling. That's not the usual pilot story, but I decided to go become a pilot so I could travel. And so I went off to school, and they laid out this whole plan for me. And my first year of college, I almost failed out of there. I was so lost being away from home, and then just like, where's the next party, and finding all the, you know, opportunity to drink that I could. And I almost got kicked out. It was one of many sober up and fly right moments. So sober up and fly right, and I graduated and, you know, kept going down this path. Honestly, sometimes it was only because I didn't know what else to do. And for me, the pilot thing actually kind of worked because, you know, I need a checklist and regimented, and it seemed like it kind of, you know, helped me straighten out a bit. And then,
how many of y'all can identify that? We need checklists, regiments. I totally get it.
Yeah. So, you know, that, and then you got to travel a whole bunch and drink in different cities with different people. You never had to see them again.
I always think airports and hotels.
Yeah.
Like, if you're in the rooms of recovery,
nobody
how
knows
often
me.
do we have that? Yeah. Yes. Right.
I'm in a different area code. So
yes.
I kind of thought that went hand in hand until it didn't. And so, you know, I was doing all the things like you were talking about. I graduated college. I got a job. I got married. And here we were going to have our first child, and we were miserable together because of my drinking. and it wasn't how it was supposed to look.
So can you address that a moment? I just said what you said was so important. It wasn't how it's supposed to look. Was there ever a point where you said, man, my life was like, this is not good. I'm supposed to be living this way. I mean, what did those moments feel like? Sorry, I probably took you totally off track.
I'm trying to think, because I was so wrapped up in my addiction that I couldn't see the reason why. I was in victim mode. So everything happened to me since Columbine. So, you know, if he would just love me more, if he would just get off my back about my drinking, if this were to happen, if that were to happen, when I have a kid, I'll just stop wanting to drink so out of control and embarrass myself at every single family function. I just won't do that anymore. And it didn't happen that way. And when I was pregnant with my son, somebody in the family said, you know, oh, it's nice to have the old Anne Marie back. And I was like, what are they talking about? I was way more fun when I was drinking. It wasn't fun for anybody else. And it wasn't even fun for me, you know, at the end. And that led to, you know, I think something accelerated there after my son came about. You know, I was home all the time because I wanted to be home with my baby, and I was alone in the house. You know, I didn't have friends because of traveling so much. I think that was a big part that was missing in my life. You're gone so much. And when you're home, I don't have, you know, community like I do now. That's the biggest thing probably AA has given me, is that I have actual real friends that I can call any given time and talk about real things. You know, I went to mom's club with a 2-month-old and they want to talk about preschool, and I'm like, I don't know how to do this, be a stay-at-home mom thing. I'm like falling apart, just waiting for, like, is it 3? Can I drink at 3? Is that okay?
I think you're supposed to wait till 5.
And it was, yeah, it was bad, and I didn't know why. And you know, I kind of had an idea that, like, yeah, my drinking is maybe not normal, and I just thought that was just the way it was going to be. And everything I tried to stop, I tried a lot of crazy ideas. I got some books about herbs and different things, and none of it worked.
Who else did that? Come on now.
Moderation management.
We read all the books. We Googled read all the articles. I'm not as bad as they are. So what bring us to the airport moment when things kind of unraveled a bit for you.
Yeah, that was a real wake-up call. Another. So I had my son and I was going back to work. My ex had filed for divorce. And so I thought I was drinking or on edge or XYZ because I had a lot going on. And it's just like the Big Book story where he goes to, you know, put the shot of whiskey in his milk. I'm at the airport and I'm talking to myself about how I'm going to have lunch. And I talk myself into having that glass of wine and then having another glass of wine. And then the flight's delayed, so you got to have another glass of wine. And next thing I know, you know, airport security is sitting me down and calling my sister. And my sister's like, I don't know what you want to do with her, but I'm done.
And you're in, like, uniform?
No, God. Okay. I was working the next day, so I was just trying to get myself to Chicago to show up for work. And I couldn't. And that kind of brought a couple things home. My first thought, obviously, as an alcoholic was, how do I get out of this one? So I called all my cosign buddies about, okay, what are they going to do? Like, I got to talk to the union. I'm going to talk to some people and take some kind of alcohol eval, and I'll prove them wrong. I'm a master liar, obviously. And it was all trying to figure out how I was going to get out of this one. And this was a big boo-boo. And they offered me to go to treatment. Like, we have this program, we have a plan for you. And I was like, yeah, I guess I'm going to have to quit. And they were like, really? You're just going to throw it away? I was like, yep, I'm done. I'll find another job.
So, you know, we say that laughingly. We can laugh about that here. We have to laugh about that here.
Yeah.
But to outsiders, maybe you're watching and you don't know much about addiction. You're like, wait a minute. It was like, keep your job and go to this program, or quit your job so you could keep drinking. And if if you're alcoholic, the keep drinking makes perfect sense.
Yeah, there's more jobs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know who's going to hire me, but and there was just a moment where I was sitting on the couch, probably half drunk, and my mom had taken my son. She had come in my house and cleaned out every single bottle that was there, and I went to the liquor store, clearly, and I was sitting there, and something told me, you can't quit. And that was like my first spiritual experience, looking back on it. It was probably a year before I realized that I called him back, and he was like, I was sure you were going to quit. And I was like, I'll go. tell me when. And so that was March of 2014. I went to treatment in Knoxville. And I spent 30 days away from my barely 1-year-old son.
Oh my goodness, that'd be hard.
Yeah, I was a real mess. And then I got out of there and I was right back to the old thinking of I just do what they tell me to do and get through this, and then I can go back to life as normal. And it took me another year, more relapsing, to really start saying, okay, you've really got to embrace this because it's not going to get any easier. And then life got good. So, it took a year and a little bit to get back flying, and I got back flying, and I could finally be like a role model. And I enjoyed it so much more sober. I had so much more confidence. I didn't take it for granted. I mean,
we like that in our pilots. We like a sense of confidence.
I was just like barely getting by always. And so then I upgraded, I was just like the first officer, like, oh, I'll just sit over here and do whatever the person tells me, and I'm like, no, I know what's going on. And that led to job opportunities. And I applied for 2 different dream jobs at companies that I never thought would hire me. I thought I came out of there with like this, scarlet letter, like, you're an alcoholic, no one will ever touch you. It doesn't say that, it doesn't say that anywhere on your license or anywhere on my forehead, I don't think. So it was amazing. And I was like, this is God's plan, right? Yeah. Like, it just keeps happening and it just keeps getting better and better. This is more than I ever could have dreamed of. And, but it wasn't enough, right? I have this addiction. I know it's like the human condition to always want to strive for more and better, but here it was, I'd gotten hired at what I thought was my dream company, and I'm living in a great neighborhood, but something was missing. Obviously the job wasn't enough to fulfill me, and my son alone isn't enough to fulfill me, and I felt this missing piece that my family, I don't have that white picket fence whole family thing, and it was eating at me. And I would talk to my sponsor about it, and she's like, well, pray to work on yourself during this time, work on you, and it'll come in God's time. And I was like, no, it's not working, it's not fast enough. So
my time.
Yeah, the restless, irritable, and discontent set in, and I eventually drank. And it was, again, just like I went into a bar to have lunch, and I was just going to have a burger. And next thing you know, I've talked myself into a beer on a sunny afternoon in Utah, and this, enjoying beautiful Park City, Utah. But I was like, I didn't like the meeting, and there's nowhere else to eat. And before 3 weeks was over, I had put myself in the hospital. I was so out of control, and I couldn't stop. And I was like, I think it was my own cry for help that I went to the hospital, and I knew that I'd have to do something about it. And I finally had to call and confess that to this company, and they have the EAP and all that to help you, and they're like, we got this last chance for you. And I was like, oh man, all right, last chance. I'm gonna do it for real this time. This time was 90 days away in Atlanta. That's 100 days away from my son. They let me come home a few times, but and I was like, that's it. Maybe I just need to burn up all the last chances there are. I don't know if anybody else is like that. Experiential learner. Got to burn them all. And so I came back, and I was like, somehow I felt that I needed this. I needed to get my sobriety more solid. Something was missing.
Yeah.
And it sucked to be, not working or whatever it was. I've been very work driven. I had a very good work ethic drilled into me growing up. And good thing I have a great sponsor who says things like, well, what about mental health? What about taking this time to, work on yourself? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And so I came back, renewed vigor, and I was here every day because I could be, and I get in a service position and all this stuff. And then in March, the whole world kind of went nuts with COVID. And it was right at that same time that I'm going in for my random test to prove my sobriety for everybody to know, and the test result comes back as positive.
And you were clean and sober.
Yes, absolutely. And that was the hardest thing. I just remember I was reliving it while I was sitting here, waking up, getting the call, and just, it was like the wind got knocked out of me. I'm crying and begging for somebody to believe me.
And there's a stigma with alcoholics that says, No, this is who you are.
I remember I
You're
came
just
here,
alive.
and
I
I was,
remember that day. I mean, I was telling you this.
I was
Yes, I don't
standing
remember this day.
outside, and I was calling everybody who had said they were going to help me, and they were like, "Yeah, Emery, we've heard this before." Yeah, the last guy who said that, he eventually admitted it. Everybody eventually admits it.
Yeah.
And I was told to get honest, and I needed to get well, and I was like, "Oh man, that hurt."
Talk about lostness, huh?
That hurt. And
Yeah.
so, here I am, lost again. Like, how can I come back from this? How do you have like the dream, yanked away from you yet again? And part of me, I was mad at God. I was like, clearly my Catholic upbringing says that I am being punished because, they knew I was cheating or something before. And all that lying I did.
Sins of the past. God's
Mhm.
get me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really hard for me to swallow. And then yeah.
So, and just in 2 minutes, we have 2 minutes left. How do you embrace the lostness today, or what does that look like in your life? How do you stay fully present in the discomfort?
Gosh, try not to. No. It was really hard times after that. And what I did was just start reaching out. And I think that AA has taught me at least that. And so I reached out to, something told me to call this one woman who put me in touch with another person. She's like, you know what, there's somebody else who's been through this. Just like AA, right? And so there's somebody else who had a false positive, and she's in jeopardy of losing her job, and she's a single mom. And there's another guy who already got fired. And, so I started, I don't know, renewed purpose. And I had to take a hard look at that and talk to people about, am I on this crusade for justice, for me, for my ego? What is it? And really take a look at that. And it's like, no, I'm living this life of principles now. And that matters to me. And I think it was almost easier once they finally decided to, not believe the 4 tests I went and did that said I didn't drink, to show them that sometimes science has errors and things like that. It was almost easier when they just let it go. And I was like, okay, what's next? And that's been a real life lesson in faith, because I don't know.
More will be revealed.
I don't know. And so it's scary some days.
Mhm.
And all I know is that I knew that day that it happened, I think my stubborn Irish thing kicked in, and I was like, I can drink and I can prove them right. But I know from experience that nothing gets better if I drink. So I'm going to not drink and see what happens.
Thank you for sharing some of your story with us, Anne-Marie. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this community. And listen, I want to say to y'all watching online or in person, if you have questions for Anne-Marie, and look, one of the reasons we do this here is our mission is to break the silence of addiction, create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. Some people have the perception of, well, alcoholics, they don't have jobs, they don't have careers, they're like on the streets, and that's certainly true. There is some of that. But you can also have a career. You can also, to the outside world, look like you have it all together. And in here, you can be totally falling apart, and things will start to fall apart on the outside, as you mentioned. But maybe you're watching tonight and you're things aren't well in here, and you know that it's getting out of control. Things in your life are starting to fall apart because of that addiction, or whatever you want to call it, problem, or wherever you are in your life. And anyway, I just want to say, I know Anne-Marie is open to chatting. If you want to drop some comments in, drop some questions in, I know you will be happy to reach out to people and interact with people on the thread. Sorry, I meant to tell you that before you were a guest storyteller.
Okay.
There's some expectations here.
Okay.
Anyway, so glad you're with us tonight. Let's give Anne-Marie a round of applause. Thank you, Anne-Marie.
Thanks.
Good to have you here. All right, y'all. We are going to jump into do we do heartaches now, Andrew? Is that what we're doing? Okay, good. That's what I thought. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
I'm gonna center. Shall I center up?
Great job, love.
Thank you.
Yes, really.
Yeah.
It's how we end around here. We hold each other's arms up. That's what this community is about. We're in the battle together. When we get weak, we actually get strong. You know what I mean? You can be weak, and people around you will come hold you up. That's what Anne Marie was describing when she described she has community now. We get community now if we allow it, if we allow the help in carrying our burdens. So we're going to jump into heartaches. Take 2 minutes. Give us your heartaches, the burdens that you're carrying, so you don't carry them alone. We have a prayer team that prays for you throughout the week. Some of that prayer team is here tonight. We're glad you're here. That team is led by Jason. Jason keeps us on track throughout the week, and we try to connect with y'all. This community connects with you. We lift one another up. So take 2 minutes and drop them in. Again, get vulnerable, because something powerful happens when you're getting vulnerable with some people in this room, but also a couple thousand people who will tune into this time together this week. So get vulnerable, let people in so you can be lifted up. And God always hears the cries of the broken and suffering. All right, take 2. With this one?
Yeah.
All right, y'all, welcome back. Oh, I can take that off just so you.
It's just me.
We actually sleep together in the same bed so we can.
Thank you for
breathe on each other.
I mean, it's obvious. Yes.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to drop some heartaches in and do community together. Ryan, do we have one on the screen? And if anyone wants to do live, just come on up.
Hey, Sue, prayers for my Emily. Please pray for her happiness, health, and safety. Yeah, we'll continue to pray for
Prayers
Emily.
for
Thanks,
Emily.
Sue.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Sue. Amanda, still grieving my brother's loss. Thank you for sharing that with us, Amanda. We have been praying for you in this community. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Hard stuff.
Anyone here live want to come grab the mic? Yeah, come on up, brother. Oh, yes, yes.
Look at-
All right.
Hi. Can we pray for my sister Danielle so that she can keep finding her way back into the meetings and let God into her life so that she can keep custody of her children and finally separate from a toxic marriage that has been really hard on both of them and my nieces. Thank you.
All right, bro. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Prayers for, her name was Danielle?
Yeah.
Prayers for Danielle. Thanks for sharing that with us. Anyone else? You want this one? Why am I speaking into Mike?
Yes. Okay. I hear sighs, so I know there's more coming in the community here. Hey, Danny, we miss you here. Just been feeling a little low lately. COVID and the possibility of another shutdown is not awesome. I pray for those who suffer from mental health and substance abuse who are feeling overwhelmed as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dee. Yeah.
You know, Danny, I talked about you tonight. I don't know if you were on now, but thank you for the conversation we were able to have and the post you did. I think that was that yesterday or
I think
today?
so, yesterday.
Yesterday. Just the realness, the honesty, the lostness that we experienced together.
Yep.
Hope you're well, brother. Happy birthday, Colby,
Colby,
by the way.
he's 9 years old today. Yeah.
In the house?
Yeah.
Come on up, Hallie. Oh, I'll hold it for you.
Okay. I'd like prayers for my mom. She's going into surgery on Monday.
Right.
Second time having cancer, so
Oh,
just I'd like those positive thoughts for her.
yeah. What's your mom's name?
Jill.
Jill. All right. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that with us.
Thanks, Sally.
Prayers for Jill. Going into surgery. Which day was it? Monday. Jason's taking a note.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that, Jay. Thanks for sharing that with us. Anyone else? Yeah. It's Kathleen's first time here. Welcome. We're glad
Hey,
you're here.
welcome.
I have two very close friends who had a long-term recovery, but COVID. It's been a hard year, and both of them relapsed recently. And I went to check on one, and I'm glad I did because she was dying alone in her apartment. And I just want to pray for folks that they can be safe until they're ready to come back, and that they don't have to die just because they relapsed. And
Yes.
I
Man,
want
what a
them
good word
to
that
stay
is.
safe.
That is a good word.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you for sharing
Thanks,
that with
Kathleen.
us, Kathleen. Welcome to Free, by the way. And yeah, it's true, y'all. I'm waiting for Jamie Delgado to pop in because she's always reminding us to pray for the still suffering. And the statistics are true. You all experience it the same way I do. Relapse, overdose, these things are up 30% in the last few months. I just saw some new statistics come out today. And man, to be honest, it's alarming, it's scary, and which is why we got to be community together, y'all, especially now. Especially now. Anyone else online, Drew?
From Christy, continued prayers of healing for my brother and prayers for Jen with the loss this week of her sweet stepmom. Whew. Yes, continued prayers, Christy.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that with us. All right, we got time for one more. Should we do one more? And if there's one more live, feel free to come on up. All right, I'll take you next, Peyton. Cindy Rapp says prayers that God will reveal himself to so many in need. Yes, prayers that God will reveal himself and eyes will be opened.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for sharing
Thanks,
that with us, Cindy. Peyton, take us out.
I would like to pray for all the families that are dealing with loneliness and disconnect through this hard time. I told Sammy it's been about 3 months since I've seen my daughter, so get connected if you are feeling alone. Reach out, call somebody on the phone, 'cause my heart goes out to you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Peyton. Thanks for sharing that with us. Prayers for them. Thank you for lifting them up. And I would like to just give you all a challenge because Thanksgiving is Thursday. I'm going to turn this off. Thanksgiving's Thursday. Y'all, I'm telling you, people are really struggling with the holidays coming up and with us going into tighter restrictions, not being able to gather. So please do, I want to challenge you, connect with somebody this week. If you're feeling connected, you're like, oh no, I'm doing fine. I'm great. Cool. Your friends aren't. I promise you, check in on them. Send them a text Or do something crazy like actually dial their number and talk to them on the phone. Seriously, check in on your friends, especially if they're new in recovery. If they're battling addiction, check in on them. Make sure they know they're loved and cared about. Let's do that together. Is that it?
That's it.
You want to say anything?
I'm just going to shimmy past you.
Okay, shimmy on. Thank you, Tammy. All right, I want to let y'all know, we played with the wagon tonight. We were moving it different places, so it's not in the screen. And you in the back, you can't see it. But if you were to come up here, you'd see the wagon we have in this community. It's a central image in our community, and it has been since day one. On the wagon, we have a donation box. In fact, we have a few donation boxes scattered throughout Free. And, I spent the better part of yesterday and today writing some simple thank yous. And our finance director, he was writing some thank yous to you all. And, man, I was sitting on our entry room chair this morning by the Christmas tree, because we do have the Christmas tree up. And I can't tell you all the feeling that came over me when I was seeing all of your names and who's all connected in this community and how you're connected in this community, and really so grateful for your giving in this community, for your generous giving. It keeps this community going and thriving. It keeps the mission growing and thriving. And so if this is home for you, we encourage giving. We appreciate your giving. And I do want to let you know there's 3 ways to give in this community in case you have forgotten. One of the first. Wada bang, wada boom. There you go. It keeps the mission thriving. What's our mission? Breaking the silence of addiction, creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. For who? Addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. It is so good to be with you all tonight. I love having y'all. I'm dreading the next few Saturdays not having y'all here, but we're going to connect online. I hope you join us. Let's go out with the Serenity Prayer. Shall we do that? Lord, no, let's not do the Serenity Prayer. We don't need serenity. We need the Lord tonight. If you don't know the Lord's... It is the Serenity Prayer. We need some serenity in our lives. Let's do them all. We're going to spend the next hour and a half doing all the prayers tonight. All right, y'all. I encourage you to open the palms of your hands. Take a deep breath. Invite the God of the universe into your breath. Experience the divine energy that is flowing all around you, the breath of God. If you don't know the Serenity Prayer, it's on your screen, and it goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. My free brothers and sisters, in your lostness, may you experience the God of grace and peace, the God who is putting things and people in your path, even in your lostness. And remember those who are holding you up, those who are being your arms, holding your arms up when you have nothing left. Grace and peace, and happy Thanksgiving. All right, y'all. See you next week.